Hi everybody, you're listening to the Khandaan podcast by the You Podcast team, a bi-weekly podcast revisiting the movies of Amir Khan, Salman Khan and Shahrukh Khan.
Every show we pick a random year from 3 decades of collectively 300 films the Khans have done and let our listeners vote which movie we should talk about. So it's entirely up to you.
Pick a team, make a vote, take us down nostalgia lane, punish us or make us reassess a movie we dismissed.
We love the Khans, most of us, sometimes. And we would love for you all to be part of our Khandaan, because when it comes to the Khans in Bollywood, nothing else really matters.
Pitu, welcome on the show.
Thank you.
This is awesome. Thank you for, and also thank you for picking out this awesome movie we're going to talk about. It's in a way, it's good that you're not on Twitter anymore, because people cannot throw you brickbats, right? You're not on Twitter anymore, are you?
I'm not. But, honestly, I welcome any brickbats and stones being thrown my way, because I myself am amazed that I picked a movie this shady. मैं अपने ही नजरों में गिर गई हूँ.
So, Pitu, you picked Koyla, the classic Rakesh Roshan movie starring Shahrukh Khan, lots of mullets, Brijwa and Madhuri Dixit.
Yes.
So we're going to be talking about that. And then there's a bunch of trailers that came out, Chhichhore, Saaho, Mission Mangal. We're going to be talking about that. Small review about Typewriter and a few bits and bobs here and there. Let's get started, guys. Who saw the Chhichhore trailer?
पता नहीं क्या जादू है कॉलेज लाइफ में, जहां अनजाने मिलते हैं और दोस्त बन जाते हैं जिंदगी भर के लिए, और ऐसे वैसे दोस्त नहीं, कुत्ते दोस्त।
वो तेरे को गाली देके गया है, माँ बहन की गाली देके गया है, क्या बोलेगा अंदर से?
कमीने दोस्त।
क्या उखाड़ लेगा हॉस्टल चेंज करके, अच्छे रूम में रह लेगा, अच्छा खाना खा लेगा, लेकिन रात को तेरा बंटी तो तेरी चिड्डी में ही सोएगा।
I love you.
I did.
What did you think about it?
I'm not really hyped about it. There's hardly any of those actors excite me. I think the guy who is from Fukre is doing the same shtick that he does. The I don't know the name of the actor. And then there's Sushant Singh Rajput, who at this point I don't really consider him to be, a headliner act or something like that. So I don't know. I might catch it on streaming, but I don't feel very excited to go back to the cinema to watch this, even after seeing that it's being made by the same director as Dangal. I don't know why. It just gives me off that, this I can catch on later. I'll have much better content to watch.
I think
what about you?
The actor you're talking about is Varun Sharma, right? That's he's playing Sexa, which is I think
so in Fukre his name is Chucha. So so he's sticking to his ball game.
Hey, it's all about brands now, isn't it? It's not about
I know, right?
Yeah, he's got a brand. Amrita, what did you think?
So it has a weird Raju Hirani hangover, the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
So it feels like a remix of Three Idiots, but with a weird sort of middle-age update, for which I don't understand why that is there.
And the makeup is atrocious.
Yeah,
it's really bad.
So much bad hair.
It's not like Kamal Hassan's Indian bad, but it's getting there.
Yeah.
And,
so much maida and so much atta.
Also, it has... so the guy that I actually like from this movie is the guy that is in all the AIB videos. I don't know his name. I've been trying to find his name and I just can't find it. But he's in he plays the lead in quite a few of their videos, and he's very watchable.
Naveen Polishetty. That's what IMDb is saying.
Okay.
That is a very unfortunate name for somebody to remember.
But he's he's very watchable in the videos, the AIB videos. So I'm like hoping that he'll be like very watchable on screen as well. But yeah, like Sujoy says, like unless they release another trailer that completely blows me away, this is going to be a streaming watch.
Pitu, have you booked your ticket in advance for Chhichhore already?
No, I haven't even seen the trailer. Although I do want to see the trailer now because of the comments about the bad hair, because I'm always there for people's misfortune.
I saw the trailer and I saw it seems to be like about a college romance between Sushant Singh and Shraddha Kapoor.
Which is where like everybody gets lost immediately.
Yeah, I got lost. I was like, I am not interested in watching a romance between these two whatsoever. I'm not interested in watching these two on screen. I definitely don't want to watch them in the past, and I don't want to watch them in the future. So this movie is just not for me. Nothing about this seems exciting. I mean, maybe the poster where they're, sitting, the young version is sitting in front and in the back, the old version is sitting. I mean, as a poster design, I think that can be cool. But, man, 2 hours of Shraddha, man. Who has time for that, man? Which leads me to Saaho, which finally had their first trailer come out.
पिछले हफ्ते मुंबई में 2000 करोड़ की चोरी हुई है। सूत्रों के अनुसार पुलिस के पास अभी तक कोई लीड्स नहीं है।
We should be ashamed of ourselves. अब से ये केस एक अंडरकवर पुलिस ऑफिसर हैंडल करेगा।
कौन सर? वो किसी भी फील गुड फिल्म से पहले आने वाले स्मोकिंग एड की तरह सर। कंटेंट सही होता है लेकिन विजुअल्स बहुत डिस्टर्बिंग होते हैं।
Honestly, I was so excited from the teaser, and I should really keep to my strategy of watching teaser and not watching trailers, because this trailer does absolutely nothing for me. And I wonder, is it because I was watching the Hindi dub of it and the dialogues and the stuff doesn't work as well in Hindi as it maybe does in Telugu? I don't know.
I'm really excited to see the big gang of villains. Like there's Jaggu Dada, there's Chunky Pandey, there's Mahesh Manjrekar, there's Neil Nitin Mukesh.
Yeah.
He's producing the movie too, by the way, right? Isn't he?
Wow. Did he have some chiller to add or something like that? Like in the budget, like how much did he contribute?
Wait, Etihasik Neil Bhai is producing this film?
No. I think I just went on his Instagram page to check. I think he and his brother have produced Bypass Road. I don't know if they've produced Saaho. But I think they produced Bypass Road. I mean, I obsessively stalk his Instagram, so I really should be able to give you a definitive answer. But
why, Pitu? Why?
Because he posts videos of his father, and it's amazing. He posts videos of Nitin Mukesh, and Nitin Mukesh always talks about some upcoming grand concert of his, and it's always in bizarre places like Vadodara, and he'll be like, so thankful for all of your love, Jai Shri Krishna, excited to see you. And it's like he hypes it up as if it's like, I don't know, like it's like U2's tour in like US tour or something. So I get very excited to see his enthusiasm.
Where did we get here from Saaho?
Does he even get invitations to Anup Jalota's parties or not even?
I don't think so. I don't think he hangs out with Anup Jalota.
Anup Jalota's parties are like now proper legit, right?
Yeah. At least there's more coke or less coke. I don't know what's going on, like. Anyway.
Did you see that photo, by the way, Pitu? Like of all the Brat Pack at Kejo's house?
Yes, I did.
And Vicky Kaushal, National Award winner, like India ki Josh.
Out. So I was trying to defend them to my friend. I don't know why. I think it's just because I'm a contrary person. Because she was like, I think they were all like on drugs or whatever. And I was like, nahi yaar, mujhe lagta hai ki they were very tired. So they all decided to take a group power nap. And so they took like a 10-minute power nap. And as a person who takes a lot of power naps, I can tell you always wake up more groggy and tired than you were when you actually began your nap. So that is my theory.
There's somebody, like some Bela politician that's like actually like filed a case against them apparently. Like, what?
इंडिया में सबके पास बहुत टाइम है.
I just thought it was like a really boring looking party except for the pretty people. But like even the coke, there's not even a coke to share. Look, like who comes to like a Bollywood party with like not even a gram of coke? Like bring some decent amount, right? Like, you know, like it's like coming to a barbecue and bringing potato salad, you know, like bring like samosas, bring like pakodes, bring chaat, you know, not like damn potato salad, you know.
Okay, if you ever invite me to your house, I know what to bring.
Yeah, coke.
Potato salad.
Coke.
1 gram of coke.
Yeah, at least a gram of coke. Like, I'm very, like, pro drugs and, like, have fun, do whatever you want, you know? So I was like, who is this, like, Gharib Aadmi? It's probably he's probably spent all his budget on that new movie. What is the movie they're making? Brahmastra. Brahmastra, right? It's all going in special effects and they don't have enough for their coke budget. That's what I'm sad about.
Yeah.
Is Brahmastra coming out this year or is it next year?
I think it's pushed to next year. Like Ayan Mukherjee released some press release on Twitter or Facebook page saying they need to have more time invested into the special effects. So it's been pushed.
The special effects will be trying to make Ranbir Kapoor look awake in the movie.
Pitu is not holding back.
I have very strong feelings about Ranbir Kapoor, none of them positive.
Okay, what's next?
No, we didn't talk about Saaho. We were talking about Saaho and a nude with Jalota and Coke came in. How are you guys feeling about the Saaho trailer? Did you which dub? Amrita, which dub did you watch the trailer in? Hindi or was it?
I think aren't they filming it simultaneously in several languages, because I can see both Prabhas and Shraddha mouthing dialogues in Hindi and Telugu. I saw both the trailers, and
because also Prabhas did the dubbing in Hindi. No, isn't that his voice or am I wrong?
Yeah, it does sound like him or Mohanlal.
Okay.
I don't know. I didn't see the Hindi version. I saw the Telugu version.
And did the dialogues work better there? Like the Sachin Tendulkar silk?
I understood like the gist of it. I didn't understand every word, which I think helps when I'm watching a Telugu action movie.
Especially Mahesh ones.
Yes.
So we have nothing to say about the trailer. We're done again. We're moving away from the topic. Okay, let's move on. I think we said our bit. I think we're still looking forward to the movie more than Chhichhore in any case, right?
I mean, yeah, but like, you know, like it's supposed to be like India's biggest action movie, blah, blah, blah. But it looks like the same as like every other movie. Like, I don't get it. Like, apart from the fact that it has like half the Hindi film industry in it, like, I don't get it.
The problem also that I had, like, especially because the first part of the trailer is like falling in love with, again, Shraddha Kapoor. I don't know why people fall in love with her, but okay, that's the sci-fi part of the movie, but okay, we're in love with Shraddha Kapoor. And then the second part is all of these stunts and stuff going on, and I was like, which movie am I watching? Is it Transformers? Is it Dark Knight? Is it Mission Impossible? But it's like all of them together. Like, I don't understand the internal logic of these action sequences.
Well, it's just 2 minutes, right? Movie dekho.
Yeah, I guess. So, moving on. Mission Mangal. I actually didn't watch the second trailer because I was like, the first one already kind of annoyed me with the puri so much, and the frying. And the second one got in a bit of a controversy, I think, with Taapsee Pannu sexually harassing somebody in a car. Did you guys follow that part? No, you didn't see that whole controversy going on?
No.
Okay. So there's a shot in the Mission Mangal 2 trailer where I think Taapsee Pannu is trying to learn how to drive a car, and she's with her driving instructor, and every time she grabs the gearbox, she actually grabs his penis. And
it's not every time. Excuse me. What the hell?
I don't know. I'm just, like, I think that's what I saw, the way the cut, like the way I saw the cut. I didn't see the trailer. It was just like, people like, if Kabir Singh is if Kabir Singh is such a toxic thing, why are people not talking about this? So that's the context I saw it in.
No. Okay, what happens in the trailer is she's learning how to drive, but she's like really scared of driving, and she gets flustered, and then instead, and like the instructor keeps yelling at her to like change the gear, so she like leans, like her eyes are fixed on the road, and she like reaches down to like, you know, like pull the brake or whatever, and what she ends up doing is like grabbing this guy's junk. Like she's not sexually harassing him. He's just like some guy.
Yeah.
Like it's an accident basically, and she does it once. I don't imagine like she gets into the car every time. like she's like going straight for his junk. Like it's like
that would be a very different mission, wouldn't it?
Very different mission monger. But like, yeah, like that's a really stupid controversy. Like if that's a controversy, and if it is, then it's something that you should bring up with like, you know, like the director, like R. Balti, who's got like weird ideas in his head anyway. So if anybody's waiting for me to defend the director of this film, you'll be waiting a long time because I don't have any.
Yeah, I think people just wanted, like, people that are just still khunnas about Kabir Singh getting bad reviews and like anti-feminism anyway, they're kind of just bringing this up as a counterpoint. It's just a card they're trying to play. And people are then tagging Taapsee Panno ke, you know, arey badi feminist banti hai, you know, now are you doing this, you know, like that kind of thing. Like usual desi kind of things that we do and say. So, which is terrible. But, yeah, that's the only part of the trailer I saw. Did anybody see the second trailer or not?
I mean, it has like less, so it leans a bit more on the Akshay Vidya dynamic. And it tries to like show them having like a sort of like a buddy sort of equation rather than her being like the Benji auntie who's like, he's making like cook for the sake of science. So that's a little bit better, but it's still pretty shit, like, to be honest.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna watch it, but not just when it hits on streaming, like, you know, like Chhichhore for you guys is Mission Mangal for me. I don't think I've seen a Akshay movie in theaters for ages. I don't remember the last one I saw. Maybe Brothers or something like that?
I saw Mohra.
Oh, wow. In theaters.
I mean,
you saw that in theaters?
Yeah, in India. I was very into Ravina Tandon's belly dancing costume. I thought it was the absolute height of fashion. And I was very crushed when my mother refused to buy me something similar that I could wear to school.
But Pitu, you know now what's happening. Look, people, when they can do something in their youth, they just do it now, like new millennials. So you're you just like totally wear it for grocery shopping or something like that, right?
That would be so amazing, right? Like just shimmying in the aisle, buying Cocoa Puffs and going all like ta-dang, ta-dang. I might get arrested, but it'll be worth it.
Yeah. Sujoy, you also saw Pink with Ajit, the Ahsoka villain, like I call him. I don't know any of his movies. Sorry, guys. I won't even try to pronounce the name of the version. Is it Tamil version?
Yeah, it's a Tamil version called Nerkonda Parvai with Ajit, and he plays Amitabh Bachchan's role. Basically, it's pretty much a very faithful frame-by-frame remake, except for the first half where Ajit has a more alpha male, strong, vigilante kind of not a vigilante, I guess, because he's supposed to be bipolar, but he's like, you know, he's supposed to be the hero, so he beats up goons that come for him. So that's a bit different than the original one. But other than that, it's pretty much identical. Even the dialogues are pretty much lifted, like set by set. But it was still... I liked Pink when it came out, and there's no way I could dislike this one either.
I've still not seen Pink, actually.
It's on Netflix.
I know, but I'll probably watch Badla before I watch Pink, just because the subject, it's not something I will probably enjoy. So, is it like, because Amrita, you were recommending I should watch some of Ajit's movies, right?
Yeah.
Like, is he like Salman Khan? Is that why you're like recommending him to me?
No, I wasn't recommending him as such. I was recommending this one film that he did that I think is up your alley because it has like a father-daughter angle, and I know how much you like that.
Yeah. Which movie is that?
Vishwasam.
I can't remember. Yeah, that's
Vishwasam.
Okay. If people have any other recommendations about Ajit movies, let me know. I'll
Have
try
you
to
seen Jeans?
I have not seen Jeans. Pitu, I think after Koyla, we're done with your recommendations.
I have a feeling I'm never going to be invited again as a guest on this first and last shot.
I'm seeing a trend here in terribleness.
So इसी episode में सब recommendation है. The other Ajit movie I've seen is Kandu Konde, but that's more of
really good.
I love that movie.
Okay.
I love
But it's
Tapu in it.
Yeah, but it's not Asim style. Asim will, the moment like Aishwarya and Mammootty get together, Asim will be like, this shit.
Wait, Aishwarya and Mammootty get together? What is this movie? Oh God.
एक और डेथ जो नेचुरल लगता है लेकिन नेचुरल है नहीं। यहाँ पर जो फैमिली बहुत साल पहले रहती थी, उनमें भी एक लड़की थी, जेनी।
When a person dies an unnatural death, the soul is trapped in between universes.
क्या है इस बॉक्स में?
I saw Typewriter. Pitu, did you watch it or have you seen it?
It was so much fun. I loved Typewriter.
You watched all of it?
Yeah, I watched all of it. I actually binged on it. It was so good.
Okay, good.
How many episodes are there?
Seven? Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
7 or 8.
Do you guys have any interest in watching it, Amrita, Sujoy?
I do want to watch it. Is it like Sujoy Ghosh is like directing or producing it or something like that?
Yeah, I think he's directing. I don't know if he directed everything, but I think he's definitely the creator of the show and the writer of the show. And it has very much his hand. Like you can, his movies like, Teen and the last few he wrote, Kahani even, it has a little bit of that vibe. Like it even has like, what was that guy's name in Kahani? Bob Biswas? Bob Biswas? Yeah. It even has a character like that, like a very meek, bespectacled looking kind of guy, but actually has a very kind of dark story behind him. So it has a lot of those touches in it. It's actually 5 episodes and, I think he directed most of it. My thoughts are, like, I understand what they were going for and I applaud the attempt. It's trying to marry, like, kids with horror, like, Stranger Things or Goonies or even like a movie like Makri, and I think the kids are great in it. The acting of the kids is great. I just don't like I applaud what they're doing, but I just don't think they like landed it really well. And I don't think it translates that well to Hindi audiences because, Hindi audiences have no respect for kids content anyway. So you're almost kind of going into a new kind of level that doesn't exist. There's no equivalent to Stranger Things in, India. And I think they're trying to do that. But then Stranger Things has so much nostalgia and so much other movies it builds off of. And here, because we also don't have like a history in horror, you almost fall back to these gory scenes of like ZTV horror shows, that kind of thing. And it becomes a bit ridiculous when they try to go into that gore horror kind of sentiment. That part didn't work for me. And they're also very much trying to build up towards season 2, which is tough when season one isn't perfect, and then you kind of leave an open ending at the end, and let's see what happens in season 2. So I think those kind of things didn't work for me. Also in terms of horror, I'm not a horror fan. I'm not really into watching a lot of things, but I do like it when it's well made. So something like The Conjuring, I really liked because it kind of, it goes beyond your expectations. And here they really rely a lot on jump scares. And the jump scares are very standard. The music will kind of go up, it'll go silent, and then boom, some scare will happen. And that's very standard 80s horror in a way. And Conjuring always used to go a bit more meta. It used to shift the rhythm of where you expect the jump scare to be, or it would add another jump scare on the jump scare. And here they don't do that. It's all very kind of standard. And a lot of the plot is just based on people withholding information from one and each other. And a lot of times there's no internal logic. Characters just show up randomly when they should be there. They're not there. They do when you're in a horror movie, you always say, oh no, don't open that door. Don't go in there. And it's always, they just open that door. They go to that room. They go alone. They don't have any backup. And you're after a while, you're why, man? You're a cop. Get backup if you're gonna, go visit this weird killer guy that you suspect. No, but hero ke tarah andar aa jata hai, he just starts talking with it and he gets punched and it's done. And it's guys, come on. It needs to be a bit more smarter for me, I guess. But, I was watching it with my wife and she really enjoyed it. And Pitu, you really enjoyed it too. So maybe I
really enjoyed it, yeah.
What do you think about my comments? Am I just being too harsh or did you not even...
I feel I get some of what you're saying, but there were other things that really worked for me. So first of all, I have never seen a Hindi movie or TV serial in which I did not want to murder every single child in it because they're always so shrieky and horrible.
Yeah.
This is the first time that I actually did not want to murder any children. So that was a first for me because I thought they were so good. I also was amazed at the very obedient dog who understood every instruction because my dog will not even sit when you tell her to and she will not stand when you tell her to. So I want to get dog training tips from them. And I thought the art direction was superb. I know that Haveli is haunted, but against my better judgment, I want to move in there and
it's
I want
to... so beautiful, right?
It's so gorgeous.
Oh my God, it's so beautiful.
I want to lounge around in Kamaljeet's office and eat bonbons on a lounge chair and drink champagne and pata nahi what. I had such wonderful fantasies of that Haveli. It was wonderful. It would totally be worth it even if someone tried to kill me. I also really liked the guy who played the police officer who was the little girl's dad. Although I do think he needs to get a haircut.
Purav Kohli, right?
Yeah,
from Rock
exactly. Yeah, he was really good. I thought he was very tongue-in-cheek and cute, and I loved how he would always blush when he would see that mom.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought she acted really well. I have no idea who this actress is, but she had really good screen presence, I thought.
She was, her name is Palomi Ghosh, and she was actually in Hotel Salvation, and I loved her in that. If people have not watched Hotel Salvation, they should seek it out. It's a really good movie. And it's funny because that came out a couple of years ago, and there she was a high school kid that doesn't know what to do with her life, getting stoned with her dadaji, and now she's a mom of 2 kids. I was wow, what a jump in 2 years, yeah. She's great. Yeah, she's great. I do feel the central MacGuffin is the typewriter. And I was just thinking Sujoy Ghosh was writing is oh, what should be the thing? What should be the MacGuffin? I was oh, in front of me, there's a typewriter. Let's make it the typewriter, So it just felt like they were running out of ideas there. But, by the way, there's I don't know if you've seen Netflix. India's doing these behen-splaining. It's kind of a take on those reviews, pretentious reviews kind of things that they used to do back in the day. But it's with comedians from BuzzFeed, and they explain the movie on Netflix and kind of a comedy kind of review. And they do one for Typewriter. And the whole thing is not that funny, but at the end, they have all these bhootnis visiting Purav Kohli and Sujoy Ghosh, doing an audition. And there is one that she does Vidya Balan in Bhul-Bhulaiya. And it is hilarious, man. Even Purav Kohli and Sujoy Ghosh cannot like keep their faces straight because she's so funny. So I would just suggest you go watch that last part of, it's on YouTube, Mansplaining it's called. Just for that actress that does that last part. Maybe she's in Comic Stan season 1. I don't know. She looks familiar for something, but that part I just found hilarious. But, yeah.
She was playing Manjulika.
Yeah, and she's really good. It's like, she's like with a glass of milk. It just cracked me up so much. It's so funny. But yeah, it's a good effort for sure. And that Haveli is beautiful. Like,
yeah,
it's very much in Goa and it has a very unique style. Like, isn't there like this movie like 1920 or something like that?
Oh yeah, I've seen that movie.
Yeah, like,
of course you have.
Like it reminded me of those kind of Havelis, but it has a very kind of Goa distinct feel, and even the whole show has a very distinct feel. And like, you know, Kahani had a very Kolkata feel. Mm-hmm. This has a very Goa feel. So I think that is something like Sujoy Ghosh is really good at.
Yeah, it had a really good sense of place and time. And actually, a lot of my friends basically said, and I agreed with them, that it gave them very much like an Indian Famous Five kind of a vibe. And I did feel that way. Like, I felt like that girl was such a George, you know?
Yeah. No, it's good. I don't know, guys. Does that make you want to watch the show, Sujoy, or does that make you want to let's watch the show?
It makes me want to watch the show. Yeah,
oh, good. Okay. Sure. Good. Okay, disregard everything I say. Just listen to Pitu. No, it's fun. It's a good attempt, and it's. I mean, we watch enough bad Amazon shows and bad Netflix shows that don't pay off. Watch like a Hindi one, you know. Maybe it can build into something more important. Let's get started, Pitu. Sorry, I have to ask you this first. Why did you pick this movie?
I'm going to plead like a bad memory because I loved Koyla when I was a child. I don't know why. I saw a lot of really questionable films, and I just thought Koyla was amazing when I was a kid, especially the part where Shahrukh Khan used to outrun the German Shepherd dogs. I used to really love that bit a lot. I also thought that Madhuri's denim vest with the green lehenga was the heights of fashion. So I really liked that movie as a child.
It's down to like selective memory, because I remember watching this with my sister at the cinema, and I have no recollection of all the horrible things that happened in this movie either. When you suggested let's rewatch Koyla and talk about it, I had completely forgotten about. All I remember was Tanhai Ghum Ke Na Chanda Hai and Shahrukh running with him being set on fire.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the songs were so addictive, like Tanhai, and then I used to love Badan Juda Hote Hain. My sister and I had actually choreographed our song to it. It was very good.
Wait. Where did you choreograph this song? Where is it appropriate to dance on this song?
Children. So we were in a school uniform and we were dancing on Badan Juda Hote. We were like rising around.
I understand your mom did not want to get you that Ravina costume because clearly you were on the wrong path here.
Hey, as a drunk guy at the party said, I reminded him of Mandakini. So
now we know why.
Exactly. So I just had very fond childhood memories of Koyla, and I was like, man, that was one good movie that I really enjoyed in my childhood, and I had such laughs. Let's watch it again. And then I watched it, and it's like my whole all these fantasies I had just came crashing down, and I was like, what is this shit?
Amrita, what I was happy about that I didn't feel responsible for once for making you watch a movie like this. How much anger were you having towards Pitu for once instead of me and Sujoy?
I expected only this from Pitu and Sujoy. The moment I heard it was Koyla, I was like, yeah, this is going to be my life. Because I like the same as Pitu and Sujoy, like the only bits I remember are like the good bits, which is like the songs and like how Madhuri looked beautiful. But also I remembered like the rest of the movie was shit. Like I did not forget that the movie was shit. I definitely remember that the movie was shit, but I did not remember how bad it was. Like, that was something that I had to discover for myself.
Okay. Sujoy, man, I'm going to ask you this question. I'm not going to ask Pitu and Amrita. Is that real hair that Shahrukh has, or is that extensions?
I'm sure it's extensions, right?
Is it?
I think so, yeah. I don't think Shahrukh is method enough to sit in the house and grow his hair for a Rakesh Roshan movie, because he's probably doing many more movies at this time, except for like the outdoor shoot where they have actually traveled to Arunachal for this.
I gotta say, like at that time, Shahrukh was pretty crazy still. Like, he was still like a bit more method Shahrukh than he is now. By the way, complete tangent. Did anybody watch that Rajiv Masand interview with Shahrukh?
I did, yeah.
Wasn't it so great to see Shah Rukh on screen, like happy and smiley and like?
I mean, that break has really done wonders for him. He looks so much better. Like, he was looking ill by the end of like the Zero promotions.
Yeah, Sujoy, man, did you have any? Were you allowed to go watch this movie as a kid? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I watched it with my sister. I did watch it with my family, and I do remember it being inappropriate. Like there's lots of kids inappropriate scenes in this. There's lots of rape violence and all of that, and like, yeah, it's crazy, man. How parents judge which movie to watch, and like as I told it on my Twitter, that I was not allowed to watch Rangila because Tanha Tanha was promoted on screen, but it was fine for me to watch Koyla and Rajaji having a good jolly time.
So I actually went back to listen to our Karan Arjun episode. Which seems like a lifetime ago. And by the way, if people haven't heard our Karan Arjun episode, it's really funny. You should go maybe listen to that one. It's also because I just kept thinking of Karan Arjun all the time while I was watching the movie, because this was the last movie. So this Rakesh Roshan followed up Karan Arjun, which was a massive hit with Koyla. And then after that, he stopped making movies with Shahrukh. But he started making movies with Hrithik Roshan because his launch happened a couple of years ago with Kaho Na Pyar Hai. And like, there's so much of a Karan Arjun hangover. I mean, the vibe is so strong in it. The characters are the same. The villains are the same. The comedy actors are the same. You have, Ashok Saraf. You have Johnny Lever. They're just some of them are just changing an accent. I mean, there's even like the gore is very similar. There was a shot in Karan Arjun where they shoot in the palms of Shahrukh and Salman. We talked about it on the podcast. They kind of stop a gun with putting their palm in front of the gun barrel. Here they have one where they stitch Shahrukh's vocal cords. And it's like super gory. It's quite well done in terms of makeup. So there's so much of a Karan Arjun hangover, but this movie is just not as good as Karan Arjun. And both are bonkers. Like, both movies are completely insane, but this one is like bad insane, where Karan Arjun is like good insane.
I have a theory though. Like, I think the whole Raja and Brijwa dynamic is pretty much Rakesh Roshan and Rajesh Roshan on screen.
Oh, yeah.
That's a great theory.
There's just like it's a manifestation of all their kinks and whatever they have, in their heads. They've just projected it on Amrish Puri and what's the other guy, Salim, whatever, the guy who's playing Brijwa.
Salim Ghosh is in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, where do we even get, do we want to kind of give like a summary of this movie I don't know because this was not a big hit. Like, it was, right, it made money, I think, but it was kind of underwhelming, to what I've seen
especially for like a Shah Rukh and a Madhuri movie with Amrish Puri, and Rakesh Roshan coming back from the success of Karan Arjun.
Yeah. I think it made money. I read somewhere it was the 8th biggest grossing movie of that year. So it probably still made money. And like, I was reading on Wikipedia, which is not reliable, but they said the budget was 12 crores to make this movie, which seems low by today's standards, I would say. But, and it made like 80 crores or 60 crores. So it made money for sure. But it was just like a general feeling of, it didn't do as well. And I was kind of going back to, archives of Stardust and Cineblitz and those kind of old things. And a lot of the articles was what Amrita, you were mentioning. It was about that Madhuri is done. And I can kind of get that, because Madhuri did not have any really big hits after this. Like, she had Devdas, and I think Dil To Pagal Hai came out that year or the year before. But
it's the same year. Yeah.
Yeah. But after that, she was kind of like, she was not
tapering
like,
off.
Yeah. She was kind of tapering off. She had a lot of flops. A lot of people were saying she's just doing the same thing. It's the same dances. It's the same clothes. And people just kind of getting tired of Madhuri. But I don't know, Amrita, you were mentioning Rakesh Roshan explicitly blamed her for the flop of this movie, right?
Well, this is back in the 90s, so nobody explicitly said anything. But, what they did was, they would give interviews off the record to, Filmfare and Stardust and everything. And then they would just have these blinds that weren't called blinds back in the day. It was just gossip has it, or the kitten says.
Oh, a little birdie told me.
Yeah, that was what it was. And so it was pretty, it went on for quite a while, how Rakesh Roshan was a very disappointed man, and and I guess he couldn't really blame Shahrukh for it because Shahrukh was giving hit after hit after hit, and then Koyla flops, so they were just oh, it must be Madhuri, and no.
I love how he wants to scapegoat Madhuri, but it does not occur to him that perhaps Koyla flopped because it is batshit insane. Did that not occur to you? It is it's absolutely psychotic. It's like the movie you would produce if you were completely on LSD the entire time. It makes no sense. I stopped trying to make any logical, rational sense out of it. After 10 minutes, I was like, okay, this is just going to be a very rough ride. Get used to it. You chose this movie. This is your karma.
I'm rewatching this movie. I'm quite confused about how different the whole aesthetic is. It doesn't belong to a particular era, because you see those outdoor scenes, right, shot in the hills and whatever, and the action scenes, and they are so technically up there, even for its time. And even today, you don't see that much, that much dedication into an action scene, and an actor of Shahrukh's stature doing his own action stunts. But at the same time, you have the whole Thakur Haveli and rape and all this, from I don't know when,
from the 80s.
Yeah, exactly. And those two things existing in the same movie is just, it's very, very off. Karan Arjun kind of justified that with the whole Punarjanam story, but I don't know how Koyla, it's bonkers. And the bad kind of bonkers.
So when we were talking about Karan Arjun, we were talking, two things we mentioned was that Rakesh Roshan is a very competent filmmaker, and how well the script and the screenplay was written. And this seems to be a movie from a completely different filmmaker. I couldn't even make heads or tail of it. Essentially from the screenplay point of view, how did Rakesh Roshan even narrate this story to Shahrukh? How did Shahrukh accept it? I don't understand any of how this got made. It's insane to me.
Yeah.
As Pitu said, they got high on LSD and was like, bourgeois.
They had Coke samosas.
I think Shahrukh will literally go an extra half mile if you offer him an action film.
Yeah.
I saw the making video, and he was he was superstitious about having a running scene in every movie, and this has a lot of him running, and he thought that will definitely make it successful.
Really? Interesting.
Sometimes I wonder if Shahrukh was just taking the shit out of interviews when he says stuff like that. He has this shit-eating grin on, he's I don't give a shit about you. It reminded me of that DDLJ making of video, where he's talking about this is patriarchy, and what was it again? Bourgeoisie and all that kind of thing. And it just reminded me of that. He doesn't believe it. He's just saying whatever. By the way, that video is very, very cringe. I'll try to add it in the show notes. I don't know if you guys finished it, but it's really like what you're saying, Sujoy, like it was made in 96, 97, but it feels like something from the 80s, like, very, very dated. And just stuffed to the brim with like toxic masculinity and patriarchy.
Feudalism.
Wow, yeah.
But I have to give a shout out to Amrish Puri because I think this was like his last like big villain, like rapey villain role. I don't think he actually did any like post this.
And he, I mean, during the span of this movie, maybe before he did, but during the span of this movie, he was on medication from the vet and he couldn't get it up. So he didn't do anything.
But I have to say, like, you know, like nobody does like creepy, rapey, like Amrish Puri. Like the guy was like fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
His eyes. I thought his eyes were going to swivel out of his like head. I was very scared.
The eye socket,
Yeah, the eye socket. It's like they're going to pop any second now.
Well, that's an image for all our listeners.
There should be a GIF about this.
And it's like also like it also reminds like there's the other actress in this too, right? I think she's called
Deepshikha.
Deepshikha. What was she? She's like she used to be popular, right? Like in videos, like music videos, or was she a model?
She was like this model and starlet, and unfortunately she got typecast where they always just cast her as like kind of like the gangster's mall or that sort of. She was like basically like Garibo ki Parveen Babi.
Or like she became the 90s Aruna Irani, right?
I felt really bad for her character because it was like, you know, like
that's where I was kind of segueing into like with the thought like of toxic masculinity, because it's such a weird character, because she's clearly being forced into this sexual relationship with her old ass boss, but she also seems to be getting jealous when he's impotent, right? Yeah. So like what is like, and then she's also in love with Shahrukh, but then she also and then she gets sold into prostitution.
No, she was already sold into prostitution, and that's why she was with Raja Saab.
Ah, okay. I thought she was actually a secretary. I didn't understand that.
What?
So I thought she had like done secretarial work and she had like an MBA, and now she was being forced into this.
Did you see a printer in the view? Like,
I give her more credit than clearly Rakesh Roshan did. I thought she had done like this. She had like a proper job interview, and I want to get out of the city and get into like more fresh air, you know, like that kind of thing. You know, like millennials do, hipsters.
If like I had gotten out of the city and like Raja was like my potential employer, I would like turn around and run back to my city. I would be like exhaust. I will die of asthma. Like that's fine.
So so that's what I thought. But it also reminded me of what you said, Amrita, about how Rakesh Roshan sees his heroines differently, like how he treats Madhuri compared to how he treats Deepshikha is how he treated Kajol versus how he treated Mamta Kulkarni, right? Like the stuff he gets away with Deepshikha, he would never even try that with Madhuri. So there's definitely in his eyes, like there's a value scale of women, and it seems Deepshikha is on the lower rung there.
It's like that old Bollywood throwback of you're the heroine and you are the vamp. Like Vaijayanti Mala is the heroine and Helen is the vamp, and that's that. Like there's no overlap between those two.
Yeah, but because being 90s, it's also like a lot of like bare backs and like a lot of like deep décolletage and like, you know, rapey scenes that are kind of like scintillating kind of weirdly. It's like Rakesh has some weird ass kinks, man. And
let's not forget Deepshikha's wonderful dialogue where she's like making moony eyes at Shahrukh, who is playing a basuri by the lake, and she basically says, "Meri pyas bujha do." Every time I go to the fridge for a drink of water, I'm going to say this, "Meri pyas bujha do fridge." I'm going to go to the bar and order mint mojito and be like, "Meri pyas bujha do, mujhe mint mojito de do."
Oh dear.
You're gonna get kicked out of so many bars, Pitu.
I know. I'm going to go in my Mohra costume and order a mint mojito and say these dialogues. I'm definitely going to jail, man. It was nice knowing you all.
So let's talk a bit about Shahrukh and his extensions.
Oh God.
So like he's like weirdly like we say a lot, you know, like Bollywood copies Hollywood, but like when I was watching Koyla, I reminded me of this movie Jet Li made, Danny the Dog. Have you ever seen Danny the Dog?
No.
It's also called Unleashed. It's like both of them.
Oh yes, I've seen Unleashed.
Yeah. So it's kind of that same thing where he's like a dog. Like he's he's grown up as a dog. He can't speak. He's like very like, and it was like, wow, Unleashed came out like 7 years later. Maybe they watched Koyla and just like made Jet Li watch it. And wouldn't that be like a funny thing? Like if Jet Li was watching a Shahrukh performance, it's like, wow, this is even too much for me. Like I need to tone it down for my movie. Like we don't know Shahrukh's backstory at the start of it, but he's mute and he's also like very subservient. He's almost treated like the dog in the family, and he plays Basuri. And he's ripping off tunes from Vangelis, which, like, Rakesh Roshan is a plagiarizer. We've made this point before. See the Karan Arjun, episode. But this level of plagiarism is like, wow, you need to have like balls of steel to be able to like, just like wholesale lift all tunes and just put it in a soundtrack and be proud of that, you know? And
no, it's not balls of steel. It's just LSD, man.
Yeah.
But also, like, shame on us because we still all like the soundtrack, right? And herein, he even rips off his own tunes. Like, Tanhai is stolen from his old tune, I think Frenny or Frenny back in the 70s, which he composed. And he just uses the same tune and makes a new song with it. So, yeah, it's quite painful. What were kind of the standout songs for you guys? Amrita, did you like any of the songs? Did you like happily revisit those part of the movie or not really?
Yeah, like Tanhai and like Badan and Sanso Ki Mala. Like my biggest wish of all time has been to see Madhuri dancing to like Nusrat Saab. Like just singing like that version, the original version. Like I just wanted to see her dance to that version because it would be amazing, you know?
Sujoy, get on it, man. I think you can supercut this, no?
What do you mean?
Like, just get the visuals from Koyla, add the audio from Nusrat. I think this can be done. We can make Amrita's dreams come true.
Wish come true.
We can do this.
What are friends for?
Yeah, we have the technology.
But yeah, like, the music is, I mean, I think even when it came out, everybody instantly knew that it was basically a huge ripoff of everything, basically. But I still have fond memories of it. Sure.
Is Pitu, is your favorite song the one where they get stoned with the kids?
No, although I did appreciate how easily they just showed like, oh, these are small children and they are all on drugs. So it's still, it just kind of like made me, it verified my theory that the film was made by Rakesh Roshan and he was completely like drugged out of his mind. Because he's like, hum log sab drugs lenge, sab bachon ko bhi drugs denge, sab drugs mein khushi rahenge. So that made sense. I really, really enjoyed Ghumte Mein Chanda Hai. And I love the notion of dangling on chandeliers because that's what one does when one is dancing. Just also, it was really cool to see Johnny Lever. I had not realized that Johnny Lever is actually dancing with Shahrukh on Ghumte Mein Chanda Hai. And I was like, wow, he can dance also. Why didn't he try to become a hero? And then of course, Badan Juda Hote Hain was like amazing, and I would love to have been behind the fire, making s'mores and watching Madhuri dance, and then adding some of my own jhatkas in there. So the songs, like totally, I loved them. I really enjoyed them. That was the only good part of Koyla for me.
I want to talk a little bit about the Bhang Ke Nashe Mein Kho Gaye Hum song.
Why?
Because it's just so interesting to me, because like that's the intro of Madhuri. Like we've been waiting for Madhuri to come on screen. We've not seen her for a while. And this is the song. So she's playing like a village belle, which I think if that is the role you cast Madhuri for, that is a huge mistake. I can understand that she did not fit that bholi-si village girl kind of role at that time.
Yeah.
And they're trying to do like a bit of chocolate lime juice mixed in with Kuchi Kuchi Rakma from Bombay. But it's just a terrible, terrible song. And like, does this happen? Like, do kids like have bhang ke laddu? Is that a thing?
Does anyone have bhang ke laddus? No one has ever given me a bhang ka laddu. What the hell? I won't eat a normal laddus.
I don't even know that bhang ke laddus are a thing.
Where are these Mishtan Bhandars where people are offering you motichur ke laddus with bhang in them? I do not know these places.
I've only had bhang on Holi with as you do.
Yeah.
With milk.
But it's not like bhang ke laddus. Like
like a whole platter of them.
Pitu, you should know there's like a certain segment in our show where I ask everybody to explain India to me. Like, this is this segment. This is like, what is these laddus and where can we get them and why are they not sold in Amsterdam, you
just gave me a business idea.
I think definitely, like, especially like in America now it's legalized. Like some entrepreneurial, like get Sonam's husband to start doing this instead of like his shitty fashion portal he's doing.
Sneakers.
So that song, I had some severe questions about it, though, honestly.
Apparently, like in Ghumte Mein Chanda, Shahrukh broke his knee when he does that freeze frame jump. And he was like...
Oh, okay. No, I was just going to say, like, also, like, Sanso Ki Mala, it was apparently so hot where they were shooting. I remember, like, from the time the movie came out, like, there was, like, a behind-the-scenes video. And Madhuri, poor thing, like, burnt her feet because she was dancing, like, barefoot in that heat.
Yeah, and it looked like... I also just thought it was not shot nicely, just because it was so bright, it was so sunny, like there was no subtlety to how it was, like it was just like all focused all in our face. And it could have done better. Like, I mean, she dances amazingly and the song is good, but like just like, I personally didn't like how they were dressed too. Like, I think it could be nicer clothes, it could be shot a bit more inventively, but it just looked like tired. And I could understand, like, watching it, that people were writing all of these think pieces about Madhuri being done, because it does seem very much something we've already seen so many times, and it doesn't elevate it, Now we look back at it and we miss it because we have Alia Bhatt doing these songs now, and we're like, oh my God, we miss Madhuri doing it. So we watch Saaho Ki Mala and we're like, oh my God, she's so good. But if you put it back into the context that it's not as good as the other songs she did and the things we grew up on, I can understand that it wasn't as successful as it should have been.
Also, for some reason I kept thinking of that horrible movie Prem Granth that Madhuri did with Rishi Kapoor. Like her costumes in this and that, these horrible satin mini skirts that are supposed to be like Indian ghagra choli of some sort, and like flowers in her hair and patani those ajeeb si nathnis and the weird makeup. It was so Prem Granth. Like I kept thinking that Rishi Kapoor is going to come into frame and say some horrible dialogue, but then it would just be Shahrukh and then he would be making some ajeeb se gestures. So I don't know, like was it the same costume designer?
No, I think that's like the standard like gaon ki gory outfit, and like it just doesn't suit.
It doesn't suit her. Yeah.
I had the same thought actually when I was like watching it. I was like, oh no, she's wearing that village belle outfit. But also like, isn't it weird though? Like, okay, so Deepshika is like she's clearly been sold into prostitution.
Yeah.
And then, but she like speaks like really good English. Like she speaks better English than Raja.
True.
Like this at point
Because she
where
has an MBA. She has an MBA. She wanted to get outside of the city. I'm telling you.
and then like Madhuri is from the village and she's like a gaon ki gori. But then like halfway through the movie, like after she finds out that she's been lied to and everything, the moment she starts talking to Shahrukh, she like turns into this like very like normal, like, you know, like a very urban kind of woman. And I'm just like, wait, what happened to the gaon ki gori? Like,
yeah, how is it that she's the only person from that gaon, but her Hindi and her brother Munish Bahl's Hindi is like perfect. They don't speak with any accent or any dialect. I mean, she literally sounds like some like modern urban person who went to an convent school and who speaks like perfect unaccented Hindi. It was very odd. Also, poor Monish Bahl, he comes, he shows his mug and then he gets stabbed. I was very sad for him.
Yeah, he came in like sacrificial lamb, like straight away from Dubai. He looked like Alok Nath in Uncle Aa Gaye, Uncle Aa Gaye. That kind of thing. Uncle marenge abhi, you know.
Uncle mar gaye.
It was funny because like also the other thing that I didn't understand with this movie is like how the society is pictured in a way, right? Like because you have they marry off Madhuri with this huge scam. You don't know if the aunt and the puppy and they know about. Did they know about the scam that they pulled? So basically, they show Shahrukh's picture, but she actually gets married to Amrish Puri, and then Amrish Puri wants her to fall in love with her. Is that what he's hoping for?
Yeah,
I think
suppose
so. Yeah.
But then within 20 minutes, he's like, "I'm done. I'm just gonna rape her." And then that doesn't work out. So then he just sold her into prostitution. But then, so there's this angle about when Munish Bahl comes in, like, how could you marry her and what will society think and la la la. And then also at the end in the climax scene, there seems to be something about, oh, isne mere muh mein koyla dala tha. You know, that kind of thing. And it's like, society, wake up, this guy is a bad guy. And then Ashok Saraf is like, oh, he's been raping all these women. It's like, what are they trying to achieve? Like, didn't they already understand that, you know, he's a bad guy? Like, he looks like a bad guy, clearly. His brother is Brijwa. Like, if society was gonna wake up, they should have woken up already. Like, I don't know if like, hey, would wake them up, you know?
It's just a reflection of the times we live in, right? We are all just making noise on Twitter about stuff that's happening, but bad guys are doing bad things all the time.
Yeah, maybe Koyla was like an image of things to come, you know, like society.
Exactly.
The villains.
And the society is so easily swayed, you know. Ashok Saraf and Johnny Lever would say 2 dialogues and they'll start throwing Koyla at the villain. Before that, they were totally with the Rajaji. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it had some weird ones there. But like the action was really, action is probably the only part of this movie that still kind of stands up, I would say.
So good. Yeah.
It's really still good. And again, we've talked about this before, but this is the period where Shahrukh was totally cavalier and did not give a damn about his body. Like, he would just like jump and like he set himself on fire in that last scene. And you can like see it, like it's super, super dangerous what he's doing. And he got asphyxiated, he got like burnt, because he's got like all of this gel so he doesn't get burnt. But he's just like running and they probably had to do 3 or 4 shots. It's really, really dangerous. And then the helicopter, when they're swooshing down, apparently they hit him on the shoulder with the helicopter. Like, imagine how much that must hurt. Like, it's insane, yeah. So Shahrukh fully commits to this movie, but it's unfortunate that he commits to this movie. You know, like it's
this movie out of all that you could, you know.
Yeah. And it also is kind of like very like a visceral kind of action, very gory kind of action. Lots of blood and lots like.
That one scene before, like so Shahrukh and Madhuri run for the hills, right? And then the Rajaji finally gets to capture him, and
it's
on the hill before he throws us off.
It's straight after Tanhai. It's Tanhai happens and shortcut they get found, which I thought was an amazing cut to, you know, like it really surprises you. But go ahead.
And then like Rajaji captures him and slits his throat, and the blood is showing. That is an awesome shot. Like that is like if super impressive what they managed to achieve with that.
Yeah, and
it's super gory and
and also great. Like the way Shahrukh gets beat up, like there's so much blood in his mouth. It's like like it's crazy. Amrita, do you think the action still holds up?
I mean, yes, but like a lot of it, I was just, I was watching it through like my fingers because it was too gory for me.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing with Shahrukh. Like when Shahrukh does action, there's like too much blood. Like he like, I think we've talked about this before. It's like he like usually when you're watching these big like Mardhad movies with like impossible action that nobody would survive, it's all very like disconnected from reality. It's like video game action. But the moment
very romanticized, right?
Yeah, like it's very stylized. Things are like going bang and like
in the Ajit movie that I saw yesterday, he's basically throwing punches and he's beating up people with an iron rod, and nobody has a single drop of blood by the end.
Yeah, like that's the kind of thing, right? But then with Shahrukh, there's so much blood.
Yeah,
it's like, and it's like really like. And I think Shahrukh means there to be that much blood, and he wants it to look as realistic as possible. So there's just like, there's this blood in his teeth, there's blood in his eye, there's blood coming out of his nose. Like I can't deal.
Just so that he can say, "Mere khoon pasine ki kamai hai."
Get out, Sujoy.
I've taken Asim's seat.
I did like that when Amrish Puri brings in the commandos and they're like mote commando, like they're like बहुत healthy है ये commando, like
खाते पीते घर से
like मोटे like तोन निकली हुई है थोड़ी बैठ के ऊपर से like that they're dipping in twice into the dal chawal that they made.
No, not dal chawal. They've gone and eaten like legit Punjabi thali and come. They got like double servings of gulab jamuns.
They're like, we're going into the jungle, yaar. We need to like
खा के जाएंगे यार, पता नहीं वापस आएंगे या नहीं. आइसक्रीम भी खा लेंगे एक दो.
I also love that Shahrukh is like because he also like he suddenly turns into Rambo when he's like getting chased. He's like he seems to have grown up like a stable master, like he was in Karan Arjun again, like going back to that. But where did he learn these Rambo skills, And because Amrish Puri...
He's been being treated like a dog as well. He's been a prey hunter per se. By the end, when they start sort of building this mystery about Koyla aa raha hai. So the image that I had in mind was like when in John Wick when they refer to him as the Baba Yaga. It's kind of like that.
It's I also like what I also found funny is like there's like moments where people are imagining Shahrukh's voice. So Johnny Lever mimes Shahrukh's voice, but it is Shahrukh's voice. So basically Johnny Lever has imagined Shahrukh's voice exactly, and then Madhuri has a dream sequence where Shahrukh is talking and he's also talking in Shahrukh's voice. But when Shahrukh gets back his voice, nobody comments says, "Hey, I got actually pretty close to the voice I was imagining."
So I actually realized when I was watching that song Ghumte Mein Chanda Hai and I was marveling at Johnny Lever's wonderful dancing skills, that is the moment at which I realized that even in that song, Shahrukh is just lip syncing and it's actually Johnny Lever who is singing those words Ghumte Mein Chanda and Shahrukh is just moving his lips because see, at that point he's still dumb and it's like my mind was blown, dude. I was like, oh my god, ye to pura gana Johnny Lever ne gaya hai. If you think about it, he's a man of many talents. See, he's a ventriloquist. He also perfectly got Shahrukh's voice and he's a great singer. I mean, I think the hero of this film is Johnny Lever.
Yeah. And this is like Inception level song dubbing, right? There's multiple levels. There's like you go deeper and it's actually this. I also like that, he was miming in Udit Narayan. But Madhuri was like lip syncing in Kumar Sanu. So they did have some difference there at least. So there is some internal logic,
Oh dear.
Because
but then later in Tanhai goes back to Udit Narayan.
Yeah, because that's what Johnny Lever had mimed in, right? So it makes sense logically. Because Shahrukh doesn't know that Madhuri imagined in Kamar Shanu, right? So he just heard the Johnny Lever version. So there's a consistency there.
This is like a mind game. Like, I feel like this is a puzzle that should be given to people who live in assisted living facilities, so they can keep their mind sharp and they can keep Alzheimer's at bay. I'm going to suggest this. To like doctors and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus! To watch Koyla.
कोयला दिखाओ, फिर उनको ये solve करने को बोलो. It'll keep their minds very sharp.
I was also very impressed how Shahrukh is able to do a French braid on Madhuri's hair. Because this has been the year where I've been trying to learn how to braid hair. And that is a very difficult one. I've not mastered that. So I don't know if he's doing that with the dogs and the horses in the stable in his meantime, because that was pretty on point, man. That's a good way to seduce women. I can do your French braid.
Pity he can't make his own hair look good.
Oh my God. I was like, man, they had to do some makeup and hair test, and they said, yeah, this looks good. Yeah, let's do the movie like this. It's insane. I want to talk about one of the fight scenes that happened between Shahrukh and Brijwa.
Okay.
Because it was very distracting to me, because obviously, when you're having it in like a small time village, they have lots of like hoardings and billboards, right? But this one, I don't know if it was corporate sponsorship or what was happening, but I would like to read you some of the billboards because I wrote down the names of them. So we have Gopal Gold, we have Mirinda, we have Thakur Oil Depot, we have Aristocrat Luggage, we have Pushpa Tailoring Class, which is my favorite one. We have...
I think they made Madhuri's costumes.
We have Vaibhav Typing Institute. We have Kalpana Lodge and Restaurant, which has rooms available. I just thought that was kind of cute.
The typing school is the one where Deepshika went, right? For her secretarial diploma.
Oh, poor girl. She was like, oh, I want to have some organic food. I should go to the villages, and then she got sold into prostitution. Shit happened, man.
I said this is why a person should not have ambition.
I also like that in the flashback, you have this Ranjit comes up with the villain from Karan Arjun.
Yeah.
They kind of come back. And I kind of like that they're like, they're like fun having guys, like they're driving in Jeeps. They're wearing matching hats with suns on it. Did you guys see that?
No.
They have these matching hats on and then they go away. They build up a business. They come back to India 20 years later. And the first thing they want to do is buy a random woman that's being auctioned off on the street, It's like just like fun guys, like, hey. It was very much like branding for like...
Thakur Sabs.
Yeah, and Ranjit,
everywhere.
Ranjit.
Oh, yeah. All the Thakur Sabs out there.
Yeah. But I'm making light of it. But again, quite horrific scenes what they do with Madhuri and like selling her off in the streets and all that kind of thing. She was almost going to be sold off to like the panwala of the village,
Panwala.
I don't know, like, is this movie, like, any other points we want to talk about? Is this movie worth recommending? Because I was surprised when I put it out. Only positive comments came back. Like, people are still loving this movie.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, but then it's selective memory, isn't it? If they go and rewatch this, they will rediscover this movie for what it is, for the shit that it is.
And if they still have positive comments, I don't want to know these people.
So, recently, I played it in the background while I was doing chores, and after a few minutes, I abandoned everything I was doing and started watching because it was such a good and entertaining movie, just as I remembered. This is from Annie on Twitter. And then we have Koyla is in the category, it's so bad it's good, but for me, it's still worth it for Mads. That's Bolly Lista. Zenny says, yes! plus dive and forward roll with a heli trying to get a said mullet. What a proper fun movie this is. Love SRK and Madhuri, but this movie is so weird. I feel I got way too much info in what was really going on in Rakesh Roshan's head. That's Nafisa, which I totally agree with. Lots of Rakesh Roshan kinks. But yeah, people still love the songs. People kind of enjoy the movie. Melanie from movie Mangal made a whole video reaction on Sanson Ki Mala. So maybe people should check that out. Ghumte Mein Chanda is my favorite song, which people agree with. People still seem to love this movie. I don't know if it's ironically or it's not ironically. What about you guys? Final thoughts. Let's do final thoughts. Amrita, let's start with you because you already seem tired of talking about this for 30 minutes.
Amrita has had it.
Amrita's like, I'll just go into the villages, get organic milk. I don't want to watch this movie.
Learn some typing.
Signing up for typing classes. Phoenix University. Sorry, go ahead.
This movie is like a total avoid yaar.
Avoid yaar. Sujoy, what about you?
It's like a throwback to an era that we want to forget. It's Shahrukh's action scenes are really great, and like the blood and the gore that they managed to achieve in this movie is really praiseworthy. But they did a lot of disservice to the talent of Madhuri and with this movie, and the music is still very nostalgic. It brings me back. It takes me back to a time that was really great when Bollywood music is concerned. And apart from that, this movie is I don't recommend anybody to go back and watch this movie and spend like 2.5 hours of their life to watch this.
You know what? We're talking about people being tired of Madhuri at that time. But I was listening to the songs and I also felt like people were getting tired of Kumar Sanu. Don't you think? Like he had like also very like I was like, because he sang Dekha Tujhe To, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, which is my favorite song. Dekha Tujhe To is my favorite song.
No.
It is. Yeah, out of these ones. I was like, is it stolen? Is it not stolen? I'm not sure from where they ripped it off. But he just seemed so tired. Like, if you go back to even, Jati Hu Main, he was so still excited and like here he just seemed like tired of doing the same thing. And I feel like this movie is kind of the end time of Kumar Sanu, of Madhuri, that kind of beginning of the 90s is kind of coming to the end with Koyla. Pitu, what are your final thoughts on Koyla? Are you satisfied making us watch this movie?
No, like I said, मैं अपने ही नजरों में गिर चुकी हूँ. I am very sorry to everyone. I owe everyone an apology for making them watch this movie. But given that I am the same person who stood in line for 2 hours with my cousins to watch Jeans in first day first show, this is not the biggest mistake I've made. So it's okay. Final thoughts. I went into the film thinking for some reason that it was a romantic movie. And midway in the film, I was like, but there are no romance scenes. And then I realized that it's actually an action movie. So I was very confused. But yeah, it's a terrible movie. Please don't watch it. And if you watch it because of me, I apologize.
The only romance that we get in this movie is the hair braiding scene.
Yeah. No, but you were onto something. You didn't get that impression out of nowhere because this movie was definitely like marketed as like a romance, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, the songs were so romantic, like Dekha Tujhe To and this and that. But there's actually no romance only.
Yeah, I mean, and the chemistry between Shahrukh and Madhuri is great still, like I think Shahrukh is great with Madhuri, and it's always funny to see how Shahrukh is different with his actresses, and he does have like a very respectful kind of relationship with Madhuri, which he absolutely does not have with Kajal,
Right.
So it is kind of nice to see them that they get along well. But I mean, he made, like, in this period, Shahrukh made Yes Boss, Dil To Pagal Hai, even Pardes. And
I loved Pardes.
Yeah, all of those are better movies than Koyla. And I think a lot of people were saying like, oh, it's so bad, it's good, thinking like, something like Suryavanshi or something like that. But I think it's more into the bad category and less in the good category, unfortunately.
Yeah.
The action is good, but I just think Karan Arjun is vastly superior. And so if people want like, a so bad it's good, like kind of action drama, pot boiler masala movie, go watch that. Plus it has, Salman in it. I make the joke a lot that, Rakesh Roshan is Hrithik Roshan's defibrillator. Maybe Hrithik is, was Rakesh Roshan's defibrillator at some time, with the launch.
I think it is Hrithik who is his defibrillator.
Yeah. So let's see. I don't know, like, I don't know what's going to happen if they're making Dhoom 4 next or not, or what the plans are. They're still producing movies, but I don't know. What do you think will happen if Rakesh Roshan stops making movies? What will happen with Filmcraft? Do you think Hrithik would become a director or a producer? What do you guys think would happen there?
No idea.
But I do have a question. How is it that all of the Rakesh Roshan movies that we've seen are also Tharki? Like, they're seriously Tharki. But then all the films he's made with Hrithik are very respectable. I mean, granted, there is how much Tharkiness can you do in a movie like Koi Mil Gaya and all that. But still, like, there was no Tharkiness in Kaho Na Pyar Hai. So I don't know. It's almost like he launched his son. And then I wonder if it's Hrithik's sensibilities that rubbed off on him. Because there is no Tharkiness and sleaze in any of the Rakesh Roshan / Hrithik Roshan films.
That's also a good point.
It's like a different director. It's like actually a respectable person suddenly overnight.
I think this movie is really at that point where Hindi cinema was really transitioning from, 80s movies. 80s Tharkiness, but then 90s, like 2000 became like more this kuch hota hai. And like, if you look at Kaho Na Pyar Hai to Karan Arjun, they do exactly seem like almost a different filmmaker. But it does have that classic journeyman director kind of Bollywood, like, like a Subhash Ghai kind of like competent filmmaking, but there's no like unique stamp to Rakesh Roshan's filmmaking. It's just a very competently made film. I can't say that about Koyla necessarily. But I think he didn't know what to do, and I think cinema had kind of moved on a little bit, and Rakesh Roshan at that time couldn't find his space. He was lucky that Hrithik Roshan was there and he could kind of, segue into this new era, which people like Subhash Ghai weren't able to do.
Right.
So I think that's kind of how I think about Rakesh Roshan in a way, because he's not that different from Subhash Ghai.
Yeah. Minus the cringeworthy cameos.
Yeah, but as much Tharkiness, right? In both,
right.
So there's definitely both of that. So, I mean, my final thoughts, like I said, watch Karan Arjun instead, watch the songs on the thing. I don't know why people hold this in high regard. Even in terms of a Madhuri movie, there's much better out there. So, I didn't like it when it came out. I didn't like it when it came out. I didn't enjoy rewatching it now. I was cussing the movie. I was cussing Pitu. I was cussing everybody on Twitter that says this movie is not that bad. I was having a really bad time, guys.
I love how I made a wonderful impression on Asim. Sujoy and Amrita had no expectations from me anyway, as Amrita's barely concealed sigh told us.
At least we got a really fun episode out of it. So.
But also, Pitu, तुमने ना मेरे लिए आसिम से बदला लिया है. Like the things that Asim has made me watch, like Janam Janam ka badla liya hai.
Oh, good.
You've been her Karan Arjun to Amrita's Rakhi, basically. You came to help her. Okay. I think we can wrap it up. We'll announce on social media what we're going to be doing next week. We're still kind of debating a few ideas. It might be a poll, it might be a listener's guess, or it might be some movie that has an anniversary that a lot of people have been talking to me about that Khandaan should do an episode about. So we'll talk about it. We'll decide it. I also don't like this, pressure of people like, you have to do an episode on this. So I like to be a contrarian about that. Pitu, where can people find you online, if they can find you online?
The only social media I'm on is Instagram, where they can find me. I'm Pitu Sultan. Over there, my blog is now defunct and I'm not on Twitter. Basically, I've become like a very old hermit-like person, much like the surgeon in Koyla who fixes the vocal cords. So I'm that person, but prettier.
By the way, I saw...
pretty as Mandakini.
Yes, very much so.
Sujoy, man, where can people find you online?
I'm on Twitter at 9E3K.
Amrita, are you still alive? You want to give people your content?
Yes. By the way, fun fact, the only reason I'm on Twitter is because Pitu told me to get on Twitter. And that's why I finally got on Twitter. And then Kamini just off somewhere.
I'm a very influential person. I have influenced Amrita in so many ways. None of them good.
You can find me on Twitter at Amrita IQ.
Great. I'm on Asim Bernie on Twitter. You can follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter at You Podcasting. We'll be back in 2 weeks with another episode. Write us a review on iTunes if you get the chance. We would be very, very thankful. And thanks for listening. And thank you, Pitu, for joining us. It was really, really massive fun. And promise we'll invite you back on.
Thank you. I would love to come back. I have a whole list of horrible movies I want to invite on you all.
Khandaan Podcast founder acting.
So you don't know this, Asim, but Ajit basically looks like Jugal Hansraj. He's basically his twin.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Hello.
Hey.
I was telling Asim that Ajit basically looks like Jugal Hansraj.
Yeah.
I still remember the first time he started posting his photos and everybody was just like, what?
It's the bane of his existence.
He's forever Masoom.
Yeah, he's forever Masoom.
Everybody was like, Pitu secretly Jugal Hansraj's wife. What?
Yeah. Which is still better than what a drunk person once said to me at a party. I was at this party and this person was completely sloshed and he says to me, "You're so beautiful, you look like a heroine." I'm like, okay, first of all, you're drunk. Please stay 3 feet away from me. And then I'm wondering, kaun-si heroine? So I'm like, kaun-si heroine? Madhuri? Yeah, Shwarya. I'm feeding him words. And then he's like, no, one older time ki heroine. I'm like, kaun si older time ki heroine? Wahida Rahman. He's like, nahi. He's racking his brain. Finally goes, Mandakini. I was like, मैं तुमको जूते मारूंगी.
Asim, I hope you're recording this.
I am. I thought you would have at least gone with Mayuri Congo or something like that with the Jugal Hansraj.
Mandakini, seriously? I was like, am I wearing see-through clothes? What the fuck? I'm going to beat you black and blue now.
Oh.
That sets the tone for today's episode. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Oh.
Did everybody watch Koyla? Did everybody survive it?
Unfortunately, yes.
I barely survived it. I stopped till Sanson Ki Mala, and then when I had to play it on, I had to take a deep breath. You do something.
Yeah.
I feel like my brain had blocked out how bad that movie actually is, because I think I saw it back in the 90s and then I think I saw snippets of it on Z Cinema at some point, and so this is the first time in eons that I've actually seen the whole thing from start to finish, and it was horrendous.
I was just shocked with your confidence of picking Koyla. It's what do you want to watch? Preeti Koyla. It's okay.
The whole time I was watching it, I was remembering how Rakesh Roshan apparently thought the reason this movie sucked was because Madhuri sucked. And I was Yeah, apparently, like I remember from back in the day, like, you know, on film fair and everything, people were like, oh, Rakesh Roshan is like so disappointed. And he thinks it's because he got like a fading actress in his film. And I'm like, are you insane? Like, Madhuri is the least problematic thing about this.
I mean, there's worse things happening in Rakesh Roshan's head throughout the making of this movie, as we can see. But we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Also, I'm like very much judging Hrithik Roshan at the moment because he was the assistant director on this film, and like I want to pick a fight with him now.
Join the club because I want to pick a fight with him every week usually.
Bechara, like there's nothing left of him after Kangana gets done. Yeah, just leave him alone. Poor thing.
So, what are we talking about this week?
Saaho has the trailer. Mission Mangal had the new trailer, and then Chhichhore.
Chhichhore? Oh yeah, Chhichhore.
Did you guys?
Yeah, I saw that. It's basically
student.
Yeah, I saw that. It's basically Student of the Year without the Dharma gloss.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
It's like Three Idiots. Pitu, did you see it?
No, I didn't. Who's in it?
Sushant Singh Rajput.
Oh.
Yeah. It's from the director of Dangal.
Oh, I read a blind about this, that there is a movie that they're promoting on the strength of the director rather than the star, and it's like Nitesh Tiwary or whatever. So because this is from the Reddit blinds thing that I'm completely obsessed with. I check it the minute I wake up. It's very sad. My life is very sad.
What other gold have you mined from that Reddit?
There's such old ones. There's like 80s and 90s ka stories also. So apparently there's like all these Turkey people like Jitendra, our dearest Rakesh Roshan, then Naveen Nishchal. All these people apparently they used to have Devanand. All these people apparently used to have like permanent rooms booked at the Sun and Sand Hotel in Juhu, and they would be seen taking meetings, not the air quotes, meetings in their suites at the Sun and Sand Hotel. And the Reddit Khabri who was saying that actually saw like a 60-year-old Jitendra with some nubile starlet person over there. Yeah, so I was very interested. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Like the Sun and Sand is so famous. Like Beth from Beth Loves Bollywood.
Yeah.
She actually booked a room there.
Did she also hold meetings?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But like all these turkeys look like turkeys though. I mean, this should not be a surprise. Like look at Jitendra and Devanand's face. Naveen is sure too. Like you should not be in a room alone with these guys. You know this.
Exactly. I don't even want to be in an elevator with them.
Yeah.
Isn't Jitendra being like sued by one of his cousins or something? Like assault?
Oh yeah, she accused him. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, Rakesh Roshan was outed by, what's her face?
Tiska
Chopra. Right?
Tiska Chopra, yeah.
Mm-hmm. The only thing is she didn't actually name him, right?
Mm-hmm.
She named him?
No, she didn't name him. But it was extremely clear who it was.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that visual is burned in my image of him in his lungi. I was like, Tiska, you didn't have to tell us he was in a lungi. Please, I don't need to know this.
I think she was probably just being gracious because he's sick, no? He's got like cancer or something like that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Does he? I didn't know that.
He's like he has like some weird cancer or something like that. So maybe she was being gracious about that.
Man, I feel really bad for Hrithik.
I know. He can't catch a break. His grandfather also just passed away.
Yeah.
Does that mean Krish, the next chapter is not happening?
It is.
It probably will.
It will. Like,
just to revive Hrithik's career.
Yeah, but dude, like we spoke about this last time. I think it's just us that are thinking his career is dead because Super 30 did good money, no?
Oh, my mother saw it first day, first show, and she called me about it.
Yeah, what did she say?
What did she
like it?
She loved it. So I was trying to pick holes in it. I haven't seen it, but I was like, okay, how do we feel about his brown face? My mother was like, no, but that's okay because he's selling papads on the street, तो वो इतना गोरा चिकना तो नहीं लगेगा.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, logic. And then I was like, how do we feel about his dialogue delivery? She's like, his Bihari is so good. I'm sure like he totally sounded like he was from Bihar. I'm like, okay, are you from Bihar? You do not know anything about Bihari accent. She's like, no, it totally came across as very genuine and proper. So I was like, okay. So then I criticized the music because I was running out of things to criticize. So I said that, no, the music is not very good or catchy. She's like, the movie is about this teacher person. Why will there be good music? What are these expectations you have?
I love how Preeti, you're not letting any nugget of enjoyment to your mom. You just like pick holes in a movie you've not even watched it.
I was very chagrined when she was like, what is this expectation you have of like blockbuster music from every movie? Every movie cannot have that, okay?
Yeah.
I was like, fine. So maybe she's like secretly his PR or something. I don't know.
No, I think
I think that's actually how people think, you know, like that is because these are like all the things that people were saying about it anyway. Online.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I also think this is kind of a good disconnect between us, the snarky internet guys, and like real people. Real people love Kabir Singh. Real people love Kabir Singh. Real people love Uri. They love Super 30, you know. And we're just like snarking in our little internet corners. Nobody gives a shit about us, you know.
We're mouth-breathing trolls.
Yeah, exactly. We're trolls. We're haters, haters, like Priyanka says.
Oh, we are now the haters.
Yeah, we are. We have now become the haters.
Circle of life, Sujoy.
And the National Film Awards were announced as well, with Vicky Kaushal winning for Uri, which is...
No, so they gave it to him and to this guy Khandaan.
Yeah. So Ayushmann deserved it, like I think, but also like somebody was saying, you know, like is this the National Awards or the Hindi Awards? Because there was like a whole bunch of really good movies that came out in that same time period, and and like the guy who directed Uri, like I don't even know his name, like he won Best Director, like how?
That's like a clear message rather than an award, you know.
But like if Srinath Raghavan had won it, I would have been like, okay, fine, like even if it's you know, but
guys, it's in the name of the award. It is the National Award. So these are nationalistic movies. They're gonna win, no? I mean, this is the last award people have respect for, right? The National Award.
Hello, I don't, not since Saif Ali Khan got his national award for Hum Tum, okay? Ever since then, I was like, tu Brutus.
Rani.
Like Sharmila Tagore was the head of the judging committee and whatever.
Oh dear Lord, okay. Nepotism.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Ravina also got her national award the year that Mac Mohan was on the committee.
For Shul, no? For Shul?
Yeah.
Okay, let's get started, guys.